Hi, my name is Kayla Morris, and I decided to do my major project on the Ohio train crash. For my two articles, I chose Ohio Toxic Train Crash Killed Nearly 45,000 Animals by Derailment Jr. and We're Afraid to Shower, Fear and Anxiety Linger in Ohio Town Reeling from Toxic Train Derailment by Kenzie Abasabe. The reason why I chose both of these articles is I felt like each of them were biased in their own way. I felt like the first one was more biased to involve people who cared about the nature that was affected due to the crash, and the second one was more directed towards what the people directly affected by the crash felt and what they had to say about it. As far as similarities go, of course, both articles cover the train crash. They both mention that it's a 150 car derailment. They both mention the hazardous chemical that leaked out into the waters and into the air, and how it's dangerous to the public. They both have a sense of who or what is affected by the chemicals, so there's more or less some sort of target market for each of their articles. Like I said before, the first one's target market is people that care about the nature and the animals, and the second one is more or less people that care about the people directly affected by the crash. And then of course both of them hold liberal biases. The first article's liberal bias would be more or less about how at the end it becomes more political and directly brings in like a speaker like Buttigieg came in, and everyone was not too happy about that, and of course it would attract those attracted to the idea of what creatures were harmed during the chemical spill. In the second article, it writes about how the people were having to fight against the state to get their reimbursements for having to move, and it also discusses dialogues and things directly affecting how the townspeople feel about the chemical spill and how it's directly affected them. So some of their differences in the first article by Derailment, it focuses more on aquatic life endangerment. It mentions that to their knowledge none of the terrestrial life has been harmed by the chemical spill, but around 43.5 aquatic creatures have been harmed due to the chemical spill. It talks about how the train derailed. It said that there was no signs that the train was speeding, but one of the wheels did start heating up really hot and caught fire, and that is how the train derailed. It also mentions that a spokesperson had mentioned that the train's derailment could have been completely preventable. And it also doesn't really stick to the topic. The title, it mentions that nearly 45,000 animals were killed. However, halfway through the article, the writer does tend to stray off from that and start becoming more and more political. In the second article by Abasabe, she provides dialogue from the townspeople, things that people are worried about, things that people have said, tests that the people are having to go through, whether it be that their homes have to be tested, or the air in their area has to be tested, or the water has to be tested. It also mentions dialogues about how people are scared to drink the drinking water, and that, yeah, so they're scared to drink the water, and they're scared, obviously, as the title mentions, that they're afraid to shower with the water. She stays pretty on top of the topic the whole article. She doesn't really stray off of it. She pretty much maintains dialogue and the townspeople's opinions throughout the whole article, and she doesn't really get political, but at one point she does mention how a lot of the townspeople are going against the state to get reimbursements for hotel fees and evacuation fees. They all had to spend. They spent over thousands of dollars, and they want it all reimbursed. So there is a bit of a political fight there, but it's not too political. But beyond that, that is pretty much my summary of both articles. and how I believe the biases are to be portrayed. So, thank you.